Welcome to Actors 2020 Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Keatth, and today we have another very special guest picked out just for you. His name is Karlos Dillard. Finally, a name I can pronounce. Yay! So what Karlos is saying, pretty much if you've been listening to my podcast, you see that it's not just typical taking an acting class, getting an agent, going on an audition to make money in this business and to become famous. You have an opportunity with all these new multimedia avenues to do it yourself. The times are changing. The traditional entertainment industry has changed as well. So like it or not, being traditionally trained in acting has become something of the past because of social media. Many people who've never had access to the entertainment industry now has it in their hands. Social media influencers are the new fresh faces in acting. Now, Karlos, he falls into this category, and we're going to see what he has to offer you. And here we go. Hello, Karlos. It's Johnny Keatth from Actors 2020 Podcast. How are you?
Hi, Johnny. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing. So I always do research on everybody before I call, and looking at your videos online without meeting you, I can say I absolutely love you.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I appreciate that. What videos did you watch?
Probably all of them. You know, at first I saw that one. It's like, because, you know, most clips are like a minute. And there's this one with you, the priest, you know, and the rabbi. And it said 8 minutes. I'm like, no way I'm watching 8 minutes. Oh my God, I watched every second of it. And there's just something about you that makes somebody laugh and that makes somebody happy. What is it about you that...
Honestly, everyone always asks that. And what it is, honestly, is I've been through foster care and I've literally lived a shitty life. So when I became an adult, I was like, I said, forget it. I'm just going to really be myself and really just like put it all out there. And honestly, before I was 10 years old, I was raped, beaten, sodomized. I've been to 36 foster homes.
Wow.
So about the time I was 14 and I was homeless, I had been through so much in life and I had seen so many dark things in life. And now every day it's just like a gift to me. So that's what it really shows through my work, is because I really am like that every day. I'm really just excited to just be living, because there were things I've gone through where there are times I shouldn't really be living. So I think that, like you said, it really shines through my work when you just feel like this guy's honestly, genuinely happy all the time.
Yeah, that definitely comes through. And you also put yourself through college, right?
Yeah, so I put myself through college. So to give your listeners a kind of a little bit of a rundown on me, if they haven't gone through all of the videos like you have.
They will. After this interview, they will, for sure.
So yeah, I was in foster care from the age of 7 until about 10 to 11, and I was actually adopted by white people. It is very important. I always let people know that I was adopted by Caucasians, because they had a huge, they were just a huge influence in my life, especially when it came to education, the way to present yourself. But unfortunately, my adoption didn't go well. It's the same story with a lot of adoptions, and my mom ended up having 3 kids of her own after she adopted me, and they had no kids of their own before they adopted me, which is one of their reasons of adopting. But unfortunately, my adoption ended up failing, and my parents tried to send me back to the state, and I ended up just leaving, and I was on the street for about 2.5 years. I left school my junior year of high school. I had to get my GED. Once I got my GED, I was able to enroll myself into college. I worked like 4 jobs, and I did my schooling, and I met my husband while I was in college, and the rest is kind of history.
Wow, that's an amazing story wrapped up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, wrapped up in literally 2 minutes. I am coming out with a little auto bio about my time in foster care, so I don't delve in so much into what happened before my adoption, because I want everyone to kind of go read it and check it out beforehand. But yeah, it's a lot happened before I was even 15 years old. So I think that definitely gives me my encouragement to keep going, especially in this industry.
Now, what made you want to even get into this entertainment industry in the first place?
It was actually all by accident, if you believe it or not. I went to college for political science. I wanted to become a lobbyist and lobby for foster kids.
Okay.
That's still something that I want to do. I'm learning that I can use my platform that I'm building now to actually like speak out and be a voice of all of those 500,000 foster kids that are in our nation.
Wow.
But really, I fell into it with the Preach Rabbi Atheist video. That video was my first viral video that happened. I had just started going into modeling. My agent was like, "Hey, there's this video. We know you're one of our members who smoke weed, so and we live in Washington, so weed is legal here. So they were looking for an actor who smoked weed and who didn't mind discussing politics and religion." I was like, "Well, that sounds like me. I don't mind doing that." And that just skyrocketed, and I kept getting all of these different opportunities afterwards. And that I was between all the opportunities, I was working my corporate job, and I wasn't able to do all the opportunities and work full time. So it came to a point where I had to make the decision of to just do this entertainment full time.
Wow.
Or kind of stick with the traditional job. And my husband, he's very supportive. He has a full-time job with health insurance, so our bills get paid. We have health insurance, and my husband was like, "You're young. Go live your dream. If you have this opportunity, go do it."
Awesome. And by the way, that video has 6.7 million views.
Yes, that's just on one platform. I think total on all current platforms, last time I checked with Cut, I think we're at like 78 million views on all platforms.
Right. So was that a true character for you? Were you were you really an atheist at that point of that, or were you playing a character?
No, so everything that's actually on cut.com, we're, like everything in the industry, we're contracted actors, but it's more on the line of reality TV. So you really play yourself. Like, so they don't provide us with scripts or anything. Yeah. I am a conservative, homosexual atheist. That's who I am. Those are my descriptives. That's what describes me. So yeah, that's everything you saw in that video. It's true. It's just been exaggerated, of course, and edited for your entertainment.
Right, but then you started quoting God. You just like, God made dirt, but God don't make you hurt. God made weed, but God don't make you bleed.
I think the exact line was, "God made dirt, dirt don't hurt. God made weed don't make you bleed."
Yeah, I'm going. He doesn't believe in God. Now he's quoting God. But it was interesting. And a couple of things were funny. One guy is that rabbi wouldn't put the joint down. He just kept smoking it and smoking it and smoking it.
Well, okay, so if you actually notice something, a lot of people don't notice in that video, the rabbi he was kind of shaky when it came to interacting with the marijuana, I guess. I'm not Jewish, but I guess like there's in Jewish law, you can partake in festivities, and it's really rude for someone to offer you something, but you cannot like actually start the festivities. So if you notice in the video, he actually never lit the weed himself. He never lit it, and it was always him asking us to light it for you. So if you go back and watch it, you're going to be like, he never lit the weed. He always asked us to light it for him. So that's why it was always in his hand, because it just kept dying, and we kept having to relight it.
And the guy in the middle, he took one hit. That was it, right?
Yeah.
The Catholic priest.
Yes. Morel, Mr. Morel.
But all your videos are just like, bam, even like your best stuff, your acting thing, 340,000, views. You got the other one where you're doing Truth or Drink just on that one platform, 2 million views.
Yeah, so I think that was my husband and I's Truth or Drink.
It was.
We did. My husband and I, and he's, like I said, he's really supportive. He did that. He does a lot of stuff for me. He actually did a divorce court with me, too.
That's an acting job, right?
Yes, a divorce court is 100%. It's reality television.
Okay, so they actually gave you an envelope full of cash in order to appear on the show, right?
Yep, both of us, an envelope full of cash right afterwards.
Right. Did they pick you up and give you transportation to and from the set as well?
Yeah, it was the first time. Like, we flew us in from Seattle. I live in Seattle now, and they had like a little guy there. They said Mr. Dillard or like the Dillard, and then we got to go right back to the hotel, and they gave us per diem for food, and I was like, this is really like an acting gig.
It is. Because I know other people who have done it, and so I kind of know the background. So has your last name always been Dillard, or is that new, just like, is it like 9 years ago?
That's my husband's last name. So we've been together for 9 years. I didn't legally change my name until we legally got married 4 years ago. Okay. So I've been using my husband's last name for the last 4 years. Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys are an awesome couple.
Thank you. I'll let him know that you said that.
So do you know a guy named Manny Quinn?
Oh, Manny Quinn. I know a Manny, but I don't know the last name. I'm not sure.
Because I noticed on your modeling portfolio you have live mannequin. That's why I said that. Tell me about that. How do you get a gig like that?
I was actually a live mannequin in Florida. It was this new technique. I think YSL did it the first time, and then Kanye West did it the second time, I think on year 2 of Yeezy, where you just kind of stood there like a mannequin. When I got into the entertainment industry, I started off modeling. The modeling turned into commercial turned into reality TV, which turned into viral videos, and where I am now. But the live mannequin gig was one of the first modeling gigs that I got in Florida, and we just sat there like mannequins And it's had people like come up and they could like touch the clothing and like see it and touch it. And we weren't allowed to talk to them, but it was a fun gig.
I always like looking at people's education and special skills. So tell me about your catwalk training.
Oh, catwalk training. So I've actually been trained in when you have to like walk in synchronicity and do like, it's kind of like stepping.
Right.
If you're familiar with stepping.
One foot in front of the other, right?
Yeah, well, in Florida, there's a black modeling guild, and they have this thing called Stripes. It's a mixture of being like ballroom in the gay community and catwalk.
Right.
And it's the catwalk, but you have a lot of personality. So it's not just you walking down
right.
with a blank face and walking back. It's just like you walking down, striding, just like being very proud and doing some outrageous stuff. So yeah, it's a mixture between ballroom and catwalk. It's like a perfect mixture.
Right. So where did you get your cosmetology and makeup artist training from?
So I worked at Lancome. That was one of the jobs that I worked for when I was putting myself through college. And Lancome has a makeup artistry school. And they send you once a month for 1 weekend, and you get your cosmetology license. You get your makeup training. They do, of course, they do highly educational work on their products, but they cover like everybody else's products, and you just get your certification so you can work for the company and work in your state. So yeah, that's something that I have, and it's actually been very beneficial because being a person of color in the industry, you will never get a makeup artist, or rarely get a makeup artist that can work with your skin and the makeup and the color, and especially if you saw, my hair changed a lot when I first started. About 2 years ago, like I had dreads, I had an afro, I had curly hair, so it was really hard to find a makeup artist or a cosmetologist to do my hair and my makeup. So it came in handy that I could do my own hair and makeup whenever I do my sets. And I prefer to do my own hair and makeup, even if there's hair and makeup provided. I just prefer to do it myself because I do it every day, so I'm better at it.
Right. So I noticed your resume has a lot of like commercial work, promotional work, print work, modeling, television, video, but I don't see any film work on there. Is that something that you're going to aspire to start doing some films?
No, I don't like being anyone but myself.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
Something that I struggle with. I can't act. I can't act. I've taken acting classes. I'm good at acting. But it's just really hard for me to stay to a script. It's really hard for because my personality is so big. It's hard for me to kind of damper that down and bring out another personality. It's something that I definitely work on every day because I do want to eventually. But I know personally, I probably will have my most success being myself, which is what I do. Like, whether it be viral videos or whether it be reality TV. I feel like that's my niche. But I do love to challenge myself. So I do stand-up comedy to get myself used to working on scripts.
Really?
Actually, stand-up comedy is the best way for me to learn scripts and to memorize stuff and to perform and not be myself.
Right, and that's exactly how you're going to break into it, because someone's going to be in the audience. They're going to say, "Hey, I have this character that's actually pretty similar to you, and I want you to come do that part."
And I see that a lot. That's why when I wrote you, I was like, I see a lot of like my counterparts on Instagram and on YouTube. They are crossing barriers where they were an Instagram person or a YouTube person, but now they're on TV shows, but they're kind of playing characters that are their Instagram character.
Yeah, because my number one actual podcast is to people who have 18, 19, 20,000 Instagram followers. I put them both on one show, and they're just out there doing their own thing. And then when you wrote and you said that the industry is changing and that because of social media, and you're absolutely right, and the proof is in the pudding. All these actors I interview, and all of a sudden I interview these Instagram people who have no credits, and bam, it's the number one show.
That's what if you look at like big actors and if you actually go to their social media is dead. Unless they're like huge, like Viola Davis. But if they're just like class B, C, maybe even some B actors, their Instagrams are really just not there. But the thing is, people love attention and money. I mean, attention equals money. And at the end of the day, if you can bring attention to whatever you're doing, you're probably going to get booked for that. And that's one of the things that I kind of lean on whenever I'm doing auditions. I'm like, hey, I have like 20,000 people on YouTube. I have this many millions of views on this channel, and my face is really recognizable. So that might help your product. What's the word? I'm with influencers, which is a whole new word compared to the average traditional actor.
Mm-hmm. So, like, where do you see yourself, say, 3 to 5 years from now?
Whenever anyone asks me what I see myself from 3 to 5 years, I always tell them I don't know. Because 3 to 5 years ago, I thought I was going to be this lobbyist. I never knew that I would be in this industry doing this full time. So I don't know where I will be in 3 to 5 years, but I will know this. I'm going to continue doing this full time. It's finally, this is like I'm going into my third year. I'm in the black. I'm making money more than I'm spending money on headshots and such. So I see the potential. And honestly, I just want to keep my opportunities open. I'm a huge believer in the universe and manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is to have some type of like a late night show. I think that'll be exactly what my character is. I don't have to be someone fake. I can still be myself. I can still do comedy. I just think that my personal goal is to have some type of late night show in the near future or in the distant future. But I know that before I die on this earth, I will have a show that just kind of encapsulates everything that I do in one.
Yeah, you could do that. You could definitely have your own talk show. I mean, your personality is off the charts.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been up since 4:30 this morning. I just did a NBC audition. They had a NBC audition for The Last Comic Standing, and they did the audition here in Seattle. So there was like 200 of us comedians, and there was so much energy in the theater. So I'm still kind of like riding on that high energy.
How did it go? How did it feel? How did you perform? How do you feel you did?
I'm used to doing auditions for commercials, for like TV shows and reality shows, but this was my first stand-up comedian audition for like a stand-up show, and it was similar a lot of things, but a lot of things were different. So it was very interesting to see for the first time.
That's great. You're happy for your friends instead of being that jealous person who's like upset.
No, here's the thing. So everyone's like, how are you so positive when other people beat you? And it's not that they beat you. It wasn't your time, and your time's going to come. But the thing is, the person who rises to the top, they're always going to need openers. They're always going to need co-hosts. They're always going to need stars that are like just show up into their show. So I always like to build when it comes to like networking. I like to network across instead of trying to network up, because the people who are in the industry doing the things you're doing, one of y'all are going to make it. So I'd rather just support you guys and know that I'm on your team. So when you do make it, maybe I can open up for your show. Right.
Plus you're on tape somewhere, and you never know who's going to see that tape going, that guy, I want that guy right there for this particular project.
Exactly. That's why I'm just waiting. I'm just hoping that there's a casting director that just watches YouTube one day and just like, we need this guy. Who is he? We need him.
They just got to figure out how to reel you in, right?
Right. That's why I just write a check. I'm there.
So if somebody was trying to be a social media influencer, what type of advice would you have for them?
Keep creating content even if no one watches. I think that's the most important thing. I started after going on Keatth.com and not everyone will grow as fast as I've grown because I've gotten the exposure from Keatth.com. But even so, there are people who've been on Keatth.com longer than me who don't have as much exposure because they kind of just let Keatth take all the content and they didn't create any of their own pure new content. So I always tell everyone, just create content. If you have an idea, do it. Even if it's not perfect. If you don't have a perfect camera, record on your iPhone.
Right.
I recorded the first 2 years of my YouTube channel on my iPhone, and I got up to like 14,000 subscribers using an iPhone camera. If your content is good enough, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter the format it comes through, whether it be HD, 4D, or like 720p. If it's funny, they're going to watch it. So don't let that stop you. So if anyone's trying to get into the social media world, just do it and put out content and be constant with your content. That's like kind of like my quote, constant with your content, because like one person is going to be watching and they're going to be relying on you to post every day. They're going to be relying on you to give them that entertainment. And honestly, our world is so short-minded, especially millennials, where if you're not posting every day, they will simply forget about you.
That's true.
So literally, they will simply forget. And I do it myself. If a page has not posted in maybe a week or 2 or 2 weeks, or a YouTube channel hasn't put up, I will kind of forget about it and I will stop looking for it. So that would be my advice to anyone trying to get into the social media world.
Right, because before we went from no access, now we have social media to all access.
Exactly. And if you have all access 24 hours a day, just imagine the type of content that you have to see. And if you use Instagram, it's rare that you see the same video come up on your news feed. It's like the people out here there's just so much content. So you have to compete with that just by bombarding your viewers, even if it's just one viewer. Just bombard them with content.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly. Every time I ask someone, especially somebody new today that's been successful, or anytime I ask, what do you have advice? Is exactly what you said. Create your own content. Get your own stuff out. There's no excuse.
And you hit a key point. Your own. I made the mistake of working. I'm so happy that Keatth gave me the the springboard that it did. But I made the mistake of signing over 100% of my content with no residuals, with no anything. So those videos that you see that are funny, I'm not getting paid for those. I got paid a couple $100. That's done. I've learned now to renegotiate my contract. So always need to go renegotiate your contract. Let's see. I'm just trying to give all the suggestions and own your content. Like if I could go back and say, hey, you don't have to pay me anything. I just want 1% of all the revenue that this video gets. I would go back and do that because some of those videos are not going to get any revenue. The videos like Preach by Right Atheists are going to be on every platform for 2 years, and they made hundreds of thousands of dollars after I only made a couple hundred. So, just always just try to own your content. If you can't own it 100%, see if you can get a little piece of it.
Right. That was back then, but not today.
Not today. Not today. I actually started a media company myself called Dillard Media. My husband and I run it. We actually have our own clients. So we have 2 clients that we produce podcasts for. That being said, I also represent myself. So it's a way to save taxes. It's a way to get a tax break. My haircuts, my gas, everything that I'm doing to support my business is now tax deductible. So that's also another way to owning your own content is to represent yourself.
Wow. So if somebody wanted to be a part of that or find out more information, where would they go?
Yeah. So you can reach out to Dillard Media if you wanted us to produce anything for you. We produce podcasts, we produce music, pretty much anything in the entertainment industry. You can reach out to us at Dillard Media, and that's on Instagram. For anything else, if you want to reach out to me, I just go by Karlos Dillard on everything. That's another thing. I didn't brand myself well in the beginning. I had a different YouTube name. I had a different Instagram name. I had a different everything. And I noticed when I changed all of my branding just to Karlos Dillard, I just started to see the influx of people and followers. And then that's when the sponsorship started. So definitely make sure that all your platforms are cohesive under one name.
Right, and that's Karlos with a K, not a C, a K.
Karlos with a K, yes.
Is there anything else that you want to promote, anything you're currently doing or you want to do, anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so like I said, check me out on all my platforms, my YouTube, Instagram at Karlos Dillard. I do have a podcast, 2 podcasts that I'm currently promoting. If anyone listens or watches Game of Thrones, my husband and I have a podcast called Ghetto Thrones, where we give a ghetto commentary of Game of Thrones. It's hilarious. That's on iTunes and Spotify. And then we have our actual show that we started about a year ago called Kicking It with Chris and Karlos. That's available on all listening platforms that you find podcasts. And that's like my baby. That's something, like you said, I don't get paid for it. I do it 3 times a week. I'm always constantly editing and doing all of these things to try to market it. And that's my baby. So that's one thing that represents me the most right now. And that's what I'm kind of pushing. But other than that, just kind of keep your eyes out for me because you're going to see me somewhere. And I'm going to be excited to entertain.
That's awesome. Even your YouTube channel is Karlos Dillard.
Yep. I didn't come up with a fancy name. It's just Karlos Dillard because it just kind of covers everything. I do some skit work. I do some stand-up comedy. Chris and I will do some mukbangs where we eat food. The next one that we're working on is we're doing a gourmet Dollar Tree run where we try to make a gourmet meal at the Dollar Tree. So we do all types of different things. So I just wanted to keep it just to Karlos Dillard, so it just kind of covers who I am.
That's good. You don't want to make it complicated. You got to keep it simple, silly.
Keep it simple. Exactly. Exactly.
So seriously, I've never ever heard of this gentleman. He submitted a while back, and I actually didn't research him till today. This guy puts the fun in funny. If you have not seen this guy at all, you have to. I swear, my wife and I were laughing our butts off for 45 minutes, and she wants to come back and watch the rest of his stuff. So this guy's very,
we have a lot of videos. He has a lot of videos to watch on YouTube.
Awesome. So I appreciate you being my very special guest today, Karlos. I appreciate you taking your time out to speak with me.
No problem, Johnny. I really appreciate you for accepting my email and accepting just like my voice in this industry, in this thing called acting. It's a wild ride, but I'm so excited to be on it.
All right. Well, I'm going to put good, positive vibes out there for you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Johnny. Bye. See you later.
That's Karlos Dillard, everyone. Let's give him a round of applause. So if you want to find out more about Karlos, just go to his website. It's his name.com. So that's KarlosDillard.com. Karlos Dillard, DILLARD.com. And you'll find a plethora of information about this fantastic, talented young man. So season 2 is officially started. We took a little time off in between season 1, and now season 2 is on full throttle. We have a lot of shows in the can, and they're not going to come out in any particular order. I have a team of editors now that are helping me out. We appreciate Eric D. Shepard's beautiful editing job of this particular episode. Thank you, Eric. We have a young 12-year-old beautiful young actress who had some hard times when she was young, and now she is on her way to stardom. We still have Nina Rancel from Venezuela. Can't wait to get her story out there. We have the Australian girls. One lives there, one's here. We have local hire episodes from New Orleans and Little Rock, Arkansas. 2 actors who live there who tell you how to get work exactly where you're at. We have a couple comedians, April and Carly, and somebody from Beirut, Lebanon, and Cairo, Egypt. So stay tuned. Also, check out our new YouTube channel. It's actor Johnny Keatth, Keatth. Go to YouTube and type in actor Johnny Keatth to see all these episodes on YouTube. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Actors 2020 Podcast. I'm Johnny Keatth, your host. Now we're going to end this episode like we end every episode with something called The Lesson. Because life is a bitch. Gee, really? Why don't you tell me something I don't already know? Cause everywhere I go, people tell me what to do. Hey, go to church, go to school, you treat me like a fool. Now, I don't need religion, culture, class. You don't like that fact? Well, you can kiss my ass. Yeah, I'm white and I rap. You got a problem with that? Loosen up. And don't be so uptight, take it easy, E. We got the whole night, yes I'm psyched. I'm ready to get the show on the road. I don't want to stop, cause I just might explode. I'll tell you what, home slice, I'm twice as nice than any bad boy rapper called Vanilla Ice. My lesson, yeah, it's hip. In case you didn't know what I'm here to inform ya, I'm better than snow. I don't moon, rock or dunk like these Michael J's, but I can hold my own. You hear what I say? Now listen, learn. Cause here comes the lesson. Lesson 1. Everybody sit down. JK's gonna take you for a ride uptown. Yo, this is the story of the Hollywood game. Choose your path careful, you're the only one to blame. Now when it comes to pot, crack, tweak, or blow, stick to the rules and just say no. Because you're young, you're eager, you want in the movies. Don't think you'll get there by giving up the booty. Cause they'll use you, abuse you, throw you out like trash. And then you'll discover that you're out of cash. Now your heart, your soul is somewhere on the shelf. And you're walking through the streets now talking to yourself. The lesson. Well, you heard lesson 1, it's time for lesson 2. You have a choice and the choice is up to you. I came to Hollywood to be a rich and famous star, but for now I'm waiting tables and I'm tending someone's bar. Pictures, classes, agents, where the hell does it all end? Every time I turn around, I'm starting over again. I finally got a break with a 5 line and under. My life was starting to roar like lightning and thunder. The phone rings, hello, I'm cast in a pilot. My life's been out of control just like an LA riot. I walked off the set, said to hell with this all man. The phone's not even ringing and my life is in the can. The lesson. Yeah, final lesson here, of course it's number 3. Now remember, I'm an actor to be or not to be. When the going got tough, I climbed into the bottle. I'm back on my feet now, revving my throttle on the climb to the top. It's the same old games. Now I'm kicking ass and I'm taking some names. Clawing, scraping, screaming, that was a long, hard crawl, but it was all worth it. I'm a box off the straw. Opportunity was there when I took it with a punch. Not now, baby, but let's do lunch. There's a big piece of pie and you should grab your portion. You can be like me, enjoying fame and fortune. Boom! That's the lesson. Go and learn it. It's the lesson. Go and learn it. It's the lesson. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in to Actors 2020 Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Keatth. Until the next episode. Bye-bye.